This is a Western New York Bigfoot Investigation Group podcast. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. It contains no wisdom, very few facts, or life-changing epiphanies, and is only the opinions, hypotheses, and guesses of the podcast host. If anything of value is learned, it is by mere chance alone. Don't blame me if you suddenly think about something or anything in a way you hadn't thought about it before. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the special edition of Satch, Squatch Random Live. You know me, I'm Joe, aka Satch Squatch, and happy to be here. Yeah, this is not the this wasn't going. This is technically the first show of the new year, and it was going to be on the 9th, but apparently not. I'm just too curious myself, and so I felt I had to do this one because I was talking with my friend and associate from the Tall Ones, and I had posed a couple of questions to him, playing devil's advocate, about the latest video that he put out on Wes Germer. Now, I'm going to make a disclaimer here. As somebody who has had a genuine, honest interest in this for as long as I have, hoaxers irritate the shit out of me. And I don't see any reason for it myself. I just don't understand it, really, when it comes down to it, the very core. I can understand motives sometimes, but anyway, that's the disclaimer. Now, I'm going to ask, Brent's going to be kind of in the hot seat. And I'm going to ask him a couple questions. I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I'm going to talk to him about this video. And because I know that while right now he's probably had some pretty positive feedback from a lot of people, I'm sure he's going to probably get some backlash from other people eventually. Who knows? But this is a good way to get it out in the open and kind of put it out there because, well, no matter how I feel about it and some of the ways my thoughts are changing on these things about hoaxers and etc., Brent feels like this is something that can ultimately help the whole subject. I agree with him on that. I can see that. So this is one way to kind of get it out there, put his point across, and then just rely on the facts that he's come up with for the rest of it, So without further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to bring on the Tall Ones.
What's up, man? How's it going?
How are you?
Doing good. Yeah, I appreciate you playing the devil's advocate because I'm sure some people have questions about it. And So I appreciate that approach to it because,
Mm-hmm.
it creates a good discussion.
Yeah, and oh, hello. I'm remiss here. Hello, everybody in chat.
Hello.
I'm glad you guys are all here. Gary was first. I saw that. Hello, Gary. Bigfoot Todd, Val, Angel, Eyes in the Woods. Hello. Sandra Piper's here. Angel Nolan's here. John Ayers is here. Um, Bigfoot New York Todd. Hey, man, how's it going? He's here. We met at the festival in Chautauqua last year. I remember to say last year.
I'm still
Um,
working on that one.
yeah, still working on it. Former Everything is here. Hello. Welcome. Cindy Finn is here. Hello, Cindy. Papa C. Hello, Papa. Hope you're doing well. Harry Man Hoax and Homemakes. Nikki. How you doing, Nikki? Hello, Brian McMahon. Welcome. And I think Jay. Oh, there's Jay Fritz. Hello, Jay. How
What's
you
up,
doing,
Jay?
sir? And LM. Hello. How you doing? Well, that pretty much covers all that. I'm glad you guys are here. I know this is a surprise one. This is a special edition because I thought, Brent kind of made me think about something, and I was going to put it off until the 9th, but then I started thinking, nah, you know what? This is just fresh enough. It needs to stay fresh. And while it's in the air right now, then let me just get him on here and we can talk about this whole thing. Because as you said, Brent, I think there's people that have questions, and some people are ultimately curious about it. So with that, I'm going to go and I'm going to look this up real quick if I can. And because I don't remember, I worded it pretty well too, I think. So that's why.
Oh, your comment? Yeah.
And I don't remember
I don't
exactly
remember either.
what it
Yeah.
was. But anyway, so Brent did the video, and within that video, of course, the whole thing was basically about all the evidence, and then of course Brent's comments at the end, and so I commented on the video and playing devil's advocate because I'm getting to the point to where it's like with my mind, I'm aware of these people, and in this new year, I'm paying less attention to them. So anyway, I pose these
Sorry
questions to
about
Brent.
that.
Yeah, that's okay. I posed these questions to Brent, and I asked him question number one: how do you respond to people who will say the whole Bigfoot thing is just made up? It's not real. Everyone is making up stories. So what does it matter if two more make up a story? Why single them out? And then keep that in your mind. And then question number two: how many people do you think that watch or listen to the Sasquatch Chronicles or any Bigfoot Encounter channel actually do it because they're looking for actual facts and not just because they find it entertaining? Um, and so, if you want to start with question number one, what about that, Brent? I mean, because there's going to be people out there be like, why are you picking on these guys? So what? Freaking Bigfoot ain't real anyway. So it's
Hmm.
just two more guys making up another story because there's plenty of people out there that think mine's just a story. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And everybody else that we take for granted and we find credible, that they're just telling stories too. So how do you respond to basically the question, why should we care about these guys? Why should we care about them hoaxing? We like it for entertainment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's, we're all in this subject for different reasons, and there's going to be people okay with them hoaxing. I've had them tell me that directly. They were, I've had actually really good conversations where they come at me hard saying, hey, this being mean, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And, you kind of start talking to them about it. And, some people just don't care because they're more, in this subject for the entertainment aspect, the relationship that they can have with Wes, in that regards of podcaster listener relationship. And that's something what they value in this subject. So those people asking me that particular question, that's 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 who's asking it. And you just you know it this information really isn't for them. You just really can't get mad at the stuff that they're going to say, because you have to understand where they're at in this subject, because they don't they want the stories. They don't really care about the research aspect of it. It's boring. It conflicts with a lot of the stories, so that's why they don't like it either. This information is for the people that are out there trying to find information, solid information that we can use to better our own investigation. And I'm not going to make a career going after hoaxers, but when it comes to influence, this is one of the biggest influence in the Bigfoot subject right now. And his account is an influential account. And it's just something that I really don't even believe that they were on the mountain that day. But so yeah, again, it goes back to your question. It's not for those people, and I try to be as nice to them as possible and try to get them to understand as much as possible why I'm releasing this information. It's not even releasing, it's been out there for 7 years now. I can't even take credit for the information on there. I can't take any credit for this. It's the original author, Elena Ennis, and the Bigfoot group, WASRT, that did the follow-up investigation. And it's also other small players in the Bigfoot community, like a Randy Filipovich, and just other people that were able to collect data and really help vet this information out. Because there's people in this subject, I feel like myself and maybe many other that are listening to this, care about that information. They want to know if it's a solid factual information, because we can use that in our own investigation. Look at the WASRT Bigfoot group. They spent a lot of time out there in that area. Granted, it's an area where you could go and probably have a Bigfoot encounter or whatever, but they went out there specifically for this encounter, and it was not even a real encounter. So it's a complete waste of time for that Bigfoot group, because they weren't even working on real research. They're trying to figure out and try to do whatever in that area where these claims were made. So their investigation was basically, they still had an investigation, but it wasn't one that they originally set out for it to be. It was under, bad information. And that's what we should really prevent happening for the people that are out there seriously looking, because likely it's not going to be me to prove it. I'm in this subject mainly to prove it for myself, confirmation for myself. But there's a lot of people out there trying to prove it. And, we need to get them the best information. We need to, when we come across influencers like this right here, or Randy Brisson, the ones that influence researchers and stuff, and especially if you pay money towards it, you kind of want to know this sort of stuff. One of the best comparisons I can give it to is, all the way up until 1989, the WWE was considered real. They said that they were real, but they had to go in front of Congress and admit that they were not a competitive sport, which came to the term of KFAB, which is essentially what I feel this is a good analogy of. It's more of a business, not so much of a grift, I guess. It's a grift if you are people like us looking for facts and information. But in reality, this is Sasquatch Chronicles is just a business that was set up by somebody that's capitalizing off the Bigfoot genre. Technically, what he's doing isn't even illegal. It's just, it's business. But if you look at it again depends upon what perspective you're coming at it from. I don't even know what to call this anymore, really, because it is truly just a business thing that is that's influencing a generation of people with bad information. And I just feel that when it really truly is realized by the population in this subject, that are inspired and whatever that use that, they're going to be incredibly disappointed. But they'll still listen to Sasquatch Chronicles. They'll still listen to Wes, which is great, because Wes is a really good entertainer. He's really good at, bringing that story to life and, really doing that whole format. He's really good at it. He's an employee of Sasquatch Chronicles. Is pretty much what he is. It's not something he started. It's something that was financially backed by a guy down in, or a media company. It's basically a media company that, is feeding us all this wrong information for our own viewing pleasure, is pretty much what it is. So again, this, to the original point of your question, this is for the people who want the serious information, not so much for the others. And I
Okay.
forgot your second question.
Okay, that's okay because, well, oh, okay. Well, actually, we can do that. I have some things you just said kind of sparked some things in my head here, and I want to get to them too. But so I said, well, the other thing is how many people, and I kind of really do believe I meant like researchers. How many people, as in researchers, do you think that watch or listen to Sasquatch Chronicles or any other entertainment, or I shouldn't say or any other encounter is what I meant, not entertainment, encounter channel, are actually going to them to look for any kind of facts?
Well, I think when they first started out, probably a lot. But as we've noticed over the last year or two, we've been starting to differentiate the different types of aspects in this subject as far as the entertainment side and the actual research side. So we've been talking a lot about that separation. And, where I was going with that. uh, what was it? What was the last part of the question?
About the research, how many do you
Oh,
think that
okay.
and
Yeah. So it came out at episode, I think 87 it was, or 75 or 87, when they did address the community, when it all came out about the hoaxing and stuff. And so I think at that point, for myself particularly, because I was in the subject at that time, that's when I really, well, when I got to that part of the episode, or part of the series of episodes, that's when I stopped listening because I couldn't use them as a reliable source. And that's what really kind of got me thinking about the whole entertainment aspect versus the research aspect, and how valuable something like that is to people that are in this subject, like myself, that are more into the realistic aspect of it. How can we use this information to better our own investigation? So um, so yeah, with that. So
give me just a second.
all right. So yeah, I don't think that is a, I think people still listen to it and think it's real, which, again, that's fine. But for me, what was really important about this is just getting all the information out there for us, for people like me and whoever else, that kind of want to know what's really going on in the subject. That's why I am kind of that person that keeps bringing this up and stuff. And I'm not the only one who does it. There's other people that like to get this information around and stuff like that, because it is important information. It is, it's why Will Jevning and Shannon LeGros left this, the show as well. And it's not, like I say, I'm not saying nobody should listen to, should stop listening, just like nobody should have stopped watching wrestling. It became very popular. We just have to understand what we're listening, what this type of information is. And that's what we need to really understand as people coming into this subject are already in it, is what type of information are we getting. And we're better articulating that now over the last few years, which is why you see a Sasquatch Chronicles becoming less of a reliable source. I still have it, presented on occasion of, hey, this happened on Sasquatch Chronicles, and they're using it in their investigation. Now, something that I want to make very clear about this, Sasquatch Chronicle does have legitimate people on there, people who legitimately have encounters. They, that are very reputable, legitimate, absolutely. But the way I kind of look at it, it's a show, it's a fiction show with the occasional legitimate person on there, because think about it from Sasquatch Chronicles point of view, it's, man, that's a lot of, you hear all the podcasters in this group about how hard it is to get guests and all that stuff like that. Granted, it's a bigger audience and stuff, but it's still hard to get good, reliable, quality people. And I think that's why they might hire actors, because this is a business. I mean, it's legitimately a business. It's an LLC business. Wes didn't start it. He's an employee of this business. And, judging from the house sizes, it looks like, the money goes further up to the top than Wes gets, which kind of sucks in a way because, he's not even one reaping the big rewards from it. But yeah, but that's kind of what it is. It's an LLC business. It's a media company that started this. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just important we understand the information. And, I get that people are going to take this information different, and they're going to process it in different ways. Sometimes it'll take people longer to process. Sometimes they're going to lash out on me. But, I think eventually, when the dust settles, it's good that we have this information out there versus not, because in a lot of ways this information was suppressed through various means of suppression. As far as one of the main ways is getting attacked for even bringing it up. I mean, you can go look at all the people who love that show, who love Wes, who defend him because they think the person presenting this information is a liar, or maybe they're just jealous, or X, Y, and Z reason. Actually, I probably can give you 10 different reasons why I've been told I'm doing this. None of them are right. Like I say, the sole purpose is making sure we all have the best information, because I wish it was this way when I came into the subject. I would have probably been a little further down the road, because I wouldn't have wasted my time on something that wasn't even Bigfoot related. And maybe with that there, it can raise the bar, so to speak, further down the road, even on, us understanding that we need to really perfect our investigations. And that comes from the information that we get and the people that we're influenced by.
Okay. So, wow, you've opened up a whole bunch of questions that I didn't even know I was going to have eventually. But so it would be fair to say that basically, really, what you're doing, or the reason why you're doing what you're doing, not with this is basically not for the quote unquote fans, or people that are just into Bigfoot stuff because Bigfoot's pop culture now, and that's a fact we're going to have to face. It's more for the researchers, people that are honestly looking for true
Mm-hmm.
answers. Could be, whether they're new, whether they've been doing it for a long time. So that would be a fair statement. It's not really for, people that, that aren't considering themselves as a researcher or investigator. They're just people that want some, something to do, and
Want
they
something to
think
fall asleep to, so to speak.
Bigfoot is like really cool subject.
Yeah,
All
they're
right,
they're
so
they're they're casual fans of the subject. I take this
yeah,
subject far
yeah,
more seriously. I'm far more passionate
yeah.
about it than the casual fan, which is why something like this is really important to me, and I think is
So
important to other people that have those same type of interests that I do.
now, do you think that it would be better, or would it be better in your mind if things like this, if there were certain ones out there that were made it quite clear that this is for entertainment only, would that possibly make any of it better? I guess I'm not exactly sure if I'm phrasing it quite the way, or would it be more fair? Um,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because it's something that we still haven't really fully navigated yet. The only real thing I can, compare it to would be the WWE moment when they had to come clean about what that they were an actual business and not an actual competitive thing. So that's the only thing I can really kind of compare it to. And I'm still need to do some research on how that whole thing went down. and how that whole transition went over. But and again, nobody stopped loving the WWE. Hulk Hogan was still a fan favorite, but we understood what we were watching, or at least the vast majority publicly acknowledged. I mean, a lot of people already knew, obviously, but it wasn't publicly acknowledged or anything like that. I don't know if it will help things better, because um, I don't know. I don't know how the information gathering from investigators at that point is going to be at. I don't know if they're going. I think they might start realizing that podcasts aren't the way to go for information at all. That they go towards the Thomas Steenbergs that are out there doing it, the Wizard Adirondacks, the Central Florida Bigfoots. Those people, I think, will hopefully be the influencers, because of all of us are talking about those, these quality people and calling out the people who aren't. That tend to influence more people because of the claims that they're able to make, like an I. Randy Grissom.
So you would say that, and I gotta hit this real quick. Daily Dan says, "Hey, wait, doesn't it say for entertainment purposes when this show starts?" Absolutely, it does. Absolutely, it does, Dan. I'm not trying to present anything as fact, um, or anything like that. I'm not even trying with this show to convince people that Bigfoot is real.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not concerned about that. But yeah, absolutely, it says this is for
Well,
entertainment
yeah,
purposes only.
this is for entertainment purposes,
My
but it's the
my
subject. It's
actual look or search for answers is kind of separate from this in a way. Um,
Yeah, I think it
I
probably
mean, they
comes down
do
to the
intertwine a little bit,
yeah,
but what I do here is just to entertain and maybe find out some new information if possible, get people to think about something in a little different way. Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And that won't change. I'm not changing that at all because mostly a lot of this is freaking my opinions and well, and of course guests when they're on and whatever their opinions or information is, but mostly it's my opinions and my guesses about stuff and etc. Um, so yeah, I got a dog being bad.
oh,
Yeah, yeah. Hang on.
yeah. But I mean, it is an entertainment show possibly here, with this, but I think a lot of it comes down to the subject matter. Like this one here, it's not really for entertainment purposes. I mean, it's entertainment, but it's probably not. It's more of a factual matter. So you should probably believe us. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I can see where you're coming from. Now, like you said, there are people that, of course, look, I gotta say that as the time goes on, Brent, and this is why I think, yeah, I absolutely wanted to have you on because I know that there's other researchers out there besides me, um, that probably are leaning towards what I'm leaning towards, which is, um, yeah, it irritates like hoaxers, people that go out and hoax videos and all this other stuff, man. It just does irritate me, and I've let it irritate me. I think sometimes way more than it should, and it's like I'm finding myself hard to like give a shit about what they're doing now, and I guess I mean, and maybe I shouldn't feel that way because I feel like yeah, one of the reasons why, especially with the what you're saying with people that do have that, they're in the eye, they're influencers, um, so it makes it a little worse, I guess, right? If you find out one of them isn't being above board about everything. Whereas if it's just some Joe Schmo out there hoaxing a video and throws it out online, what the hell there's no sense in piling in on him. You just debunk the video and move on your way.
Exactly. For me, it's more about there. I have a spectrum on who I will talk to or who I'll start, talking about or highlighting as somebody who's kind of deceiving us, which I really have a hard time with. But as far as you in general, as with your hoaxing and where you are at with your hoaxing and there's nothing wrong with you focusing more on the research aspect. You still have your, I mean, because we all have to balance out what we're going to do in this subject. And I was kind of briefly talking about this for myself as far as how much time I want to put towards certain things and in this subject. So what your focus is for 2023, is more research based, more investigation based. You've talked a lot about hoaxers. You really put a lot out there. You really helped a lot of us even understand, by creating these discussions and all this stuff. So that's just kind of where you're at with your journey. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And because it's all about finding that balance of where you want to be at in this subject. And for me, I'm still trying to find that balance of I'm pretty sure I really like to focus more on the research and investigation part versus, calling out the hoaxers and stuff like,
Yeah,
because it's just,
yeah,
I,
and I don't know if you feel like this, like I do, but one of the things that's really leading up to me, like I don't, fuck them. I'm not saying it's not important that I shouldn't know who the hoaxers are because I should,
mm-hmm,
as being someone who's been serious about this, and I don't, you know, I want the real answers, right? And sometimes maybe I'm not finding them out there myself. Maybe I can see somebody else that might have some answers for me. Um, and so I should know who those people are that are just full of shit, and I shouldn't pay attention to them anyway. And I'm to that point where, it's like, dude, I just don't really care. Point them out. I mean, people like Nikki and Steve and other people and yourself, with some of the stuff that I mean, you guys are doing a good enough job, you
mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah,
letting
yeah,
people know. And I'm not, and again, let me clarify, I'm not talking about people that are just needing Bigfoot for entertainment. And if that's all Bigfoot is to you, that's fine. I don't got no problem with that. You're not a bad person if you don't care, and Bigfoot's just entertainment for you. That's fine. Um, but I'm like, yeah, I really want to just focus on this Finger Lakes Trail thing, and that's what I want to concentrate on. And if I find anything, yeah, absolutely, I'm going to show, I'm going to show the whole journey to the people that follow me, because hell, that's why they follow me. They want to see this
mm-hmm,
journey I'm on. And I'm gonna do that. That's what I'm concentrating. I'm finding it hard to like really care, and I understand. And I think that's why I have you on the show, is maybe you can talk me off the ledge and make me care, because I'm finding it hard to care about who these hoaxers are and what they're doing
mm-hmm.
anymore. And maybe I'm looking at it wrong. So how much damage and how bad do you think it is that these types of things that go on are doing to the actual research itself? Is it making it all just a big joke to everybody, like from the outside, that are on the outside going, who originally thought, these guys are just running around chasing, you know, myths, and they're being silly about Bigfoot, and so is these things? Am I making myself clear? Am I coming through okay? Are
I think
these
so.
things doing that much damage to the people that are out there actually doing the work? Because like it doesn't really do. I mean, Alex Petikoff and Steve Coles, and I can't go down the whole list of everybody who I consider actually trying to do a job out there and find answers. Um, is it really going to damage what they do at
Uh,
all?
well, well, for those particular people, they have been included in with the discussions, and like you, have the tools necessary to better vet out what they're out there experiencing. So they're going to produce better product and better, better investigations, and that's kind of what we really kind of want. It's good information for them. They probably didn't rely. They already probably knew. I mean, people kind of around me already knew this whole thing for a while, but those people already probably realized long ago that it wasn't a reliable source uh, uh, for information. So, you know, we have to look at it from all different, perspectives of people coming into this subject. And this is just something that wasn't widely circulated because of the suppression that went on for many years in this subject, especially with this particular report. Um, but here recently, we've been able to better talk about it more, and it seems like the conditions are changing for this information to become more relevant, so we can start really figuring out what this subject's all about, because there's so much being said and done about it that we really need to dial in what's real, what's not real. And this is just one of those things that probably did influence people at one point in time, but I think as you progress in this subject, you probably realize, okay, this isn't a reliable source. But I think the goal is as soon as you come in, it's like, boom, we need to get, we need to get the best presentation for the investigators coming in, for like the people like me out there, and give them better examples to look at versus, some story that they heard off Sasquatch Chronicles. And, they're going to start creating their own little narrative off stories that probably aren't even real, but they're going to somehow incorporate that into their investigations, which will, who knows where that's going to take them, and to a certain point. And, it's just, I don't know. It's just, like I say this.
That's a good question that you just brought up in my mind. And how damaging do you think it is? Something like the whole Sasquatch Chronicles thing. How damaging do you think it is to the people who have had actual credible encounters?
Well, one of my problems right now in this subject, I'm like 7, 8 years in now, is I've come across so much hoaxing that my default is pretty much almost everybody's a hoaxer. Not everybody. So I think it does incredible damage,
man.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me, Joe, I believe you
No,
saw
no,
Sasquatch.
but it does, I think
Since I don't have evidence of it, you have no way of 100% knowing what I saw out there.
Mhm.
So I get that.
But with yours, I mean, it's something totally different than what Sasquatch Chronicles is doing and presenting, and the information.
What about the people that were credible, that were on the show? Because you acknowledge that there were credible.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what that percentage is. I literally don't know
No,
what
I don't mean,
the percentage
I'm not
of it.
asking the percentage of them. I'm just saying, what kind of light does it put those people in?
They didn't probably know at the time. This wasn't really circulated very much. I mean, there's a lot of people.
Right. You're misunderstanding me, though.
Oh, okay.
Since this has come out,
Oh, okay.
right? What, for the credible people who had been on the show and were credible, what kind of light do you think it puts on their story now?
Right? Well, probably, yeah. Probably, I think it probably depends upon the person that you're talking about that was on there, and the thing is, we know that there's fake stories on there, but which ones are real, which ones are not real? The ones that probably aren't real is you don't really ever hear of the person again, or you actually hear of the person again, but they're playing a different character with a different story. So you have people that have been on there that are credible, that are interacting with the Bigfoot community, that I don't think that they're going to be affected, and the whole thing is all a lie, because you can't say that, because there has been credible people on there. It's not fair to say that everybody on there is not credible. The whole show is fiction. That's why I think a good phrase for it's a fictional show with the occasional legitimate people on there. That, I think, is what best sums up Sasquatch Chronicles right there. And I think as time comes out and goes on, I think we'll have a better understanding of how those people might feel being on there, because at least the people that I felt that were credible on there already knew all this stuff prior to this video. Because I like to share information like this. Some people might see it as like, oh, annoying, or oh, what does this matter? It's 7 years old and all this stuff. Again, it's those people asking me those questions. This information really isn't for them, because they don't understand the purpose for this information being out there. This information is for the people who already get it. And not only that, but damn, this report is like, I am incredibly impressed if this person actually exists. I don't know. Um, but they did an amazing job that we can use going forward for ourselves on writing up reports for our own investigations, or if we do want to accuse somebody of hoaxing, well, hey, this is a way you can kind of do it. So that there upon itself was a really good way to present the evidence, because a lot of it is, how do we present the evidence of these people hoaxing? You know, we need to really, if we're going to accuse somebody of that, we need to really present the evidence for it. We can't just
Mhm.
throw it out there. Oh, this guy's a hoaxer. You know, we really need to bring the receipts, as they say nowadays. So, for me personally, uh, if I do, I mean, I think that there's a few more things I want to talk about with the hoaxing, as far as the other Randy Brisson video. I'd like to talk about the whole Bob Garrett aspect of Sasquatch Chronicles. Bob Garrett was somebody that was caught hoaxing, promoted by Sasquatch Chronicles. And, you know, it's just, I think it was going to be an extension of Sasquatch Chronicles, as far as on the field paid tour, because you had to pay $1,000 to go on one of Bob Garrett's expeditions, which is where, you know, a lot of issues came about, where the expedition didn't happen and people weren't refunded money. And so there's a lot of issues with that. But, you know, I found the original torn up camp, which are incredibly hard to find, believe it or not. The Bob Garrett torn up camp, which is a very popular episodes on Sasquatch Chronicles. And it's just something that it really looks like because someone else went back out there, and it's just really one of a dumping ground for, like, where you'd find your local meth drug people at. You know, sometimes we'll camp out there, whatever. That's pretty much what it was. And I've come across stuff like that too. And, you know, you can definitely sensationalize it, create some really good content for a podcast, and maybe use that as a springboard, like Wes did with his encounter, to create a narrative based operation. Because at that point, Bob Garrett was, I think, an LLC, maybe. I think, don't quote me on that, but I think it was more about the money than it was about the actual research. And that's when it's people that are more on the business side of it, that's when they're probably more willing to be dishonest with their approach. And this is where it's kind of confusing me of, well, technically what they're doing isn't illegal, because it's business. A lot of businesses lie and misrepresent what their product is. But from us, that care about the research and the information, you know, this is a grift. You know, it's grifting, it's scam. But I don't know what this really is, because
Right.
I just recently,
You're
looked
preying
at them.
on, and I agree with you. I've been there and I've said it. There's certain people out there that, to me, they're preying upon the desires of people who really want to believe something. And
Well,
I'm
look
not
at
saying that people don't have enough to believe in, but for people that really just, there's those people that fill every kind of niche, you know, and you never know what's going to fill some sort of hole in your life. Um, and so I agree with that. There's certain people out there that I would consider, well, you're just taking advantage of people's gullibility, if you want to use that word. They're
well,
people
yeah.
that are looking for something to believe in, and you show them something, and and you are someone that's looked upon as being a trusted source, then yeah, I have a little bit of a problem with that too myself. But how many out there are doing that? So I guess I can see that side of it. And that's something that I guess, I mean, we should care about.
Well,
Um,
here's something that we haven't really talked about yet is, so Sasquatch Chronicles is a business, right? So it's a business. It's an LLC business owned by a media company. Well, they actually have a subscriber program. So people are paying subscriptions. You know, I don't know how much it is now, $7 to $10 a month, which is great. But is it under the pretense of this whole thing being a legitimate operation, from a guy who had this amazing Bigfoot encounter, or is it under the pretense of this is an entertainment show? The guy, created a story to help, launch a podcast, to give it that whole sizzle, the whole lift that it needed to differentiate itself from other podcasts and create a narrative that could be their own, and do that whole thing. So, that calls into question with that there, the monetary aspect of it,
Yeah.
what
Well,
these people are
because
actually
yeah,
paying for, with the premise of what they're paying for it with. And
right.
again, I don't know the exact reason why the WWE or WWF or whatever you want to call it um, had to come out and had to go testify in court. I don't know the reason for that. I don't know if it was because of there was question about the legitimacy of the product being presented, because it wasn't it's fake, it's kfab. So I don't know if they had to testify and come clean about that because of the revenue that it was creating. It was because that's kind of deceitful if you're paying for something that you think is real, but in fact it's not. Sure, you can always say, well, it's up to the gullible person to vet it out themselves, but sometimes we put trust in things that I don't know the
Right.
whole aspect, the whole thing with that aspect of it. I really don't know. I don't want Sasquatch Chronicles in. I want them to, they can keep going doing what they do. But like I say, I was just more concerned that we can openly, easily talk about the information that is in that report, the investigation that WASRT did into the whole thing, without being really challenged by it, by you know, not having to always defend it, so that's the whole goal.
So would you more or less say like Sasquatch Chronicles and the like, because they're similar channels? And I'm not saying that they're there or they evolved in the same manner as, so to speak, of Sasquatch Chronicles, but um, would you say with Sasquatch Chronicles, like, okay, good entertainment channel, yes, indeed. Not so good if you're a researcher looking for actual factual stuff.
Yep.
Because
Unless
I think what you
un-
brought up is important, because I don't have any statistics, of course, or no numbers, but I want to say I'm sure that there probably are people that are subscribed, that are paying whatever for memberships, that probably do it just because they like the entertainment. They don't give a crap about anything else.
Mhm.
They probably don't even believe that Bigfoot is real. They just like it for the entertainment
They're
purposes.
a casual fan. They want something to fall asleep to. You hear that a lot. It's like, oh, I love falling asleep to Sasquatch Chronicles, which I did
Right.
too.
And
And
when
we all
that's the
have.
case, I guess no harm, no foul.
Mhm.
But I guess it's the people that may be going to it thinking that it's reality.
Which people
Whereas
did.
some of it may be, as when it comes to people who really have experienced stuff that tell their story, and those that are made up,
Mhm.
just to keep it going. Um, I don't know. That's pretty interesting. See, I'm making myself think of things that I've never thought of before, but um, I
Well,
just
same
want
here.
to. I
Same here.
kind of wanted to get it clear that also, because I get the feeling from you, from talking to you privately and everything, and I want other people out there to understand that may be fans of Sasquatch Chronicles and everything. I personally, again, it's another one I've never really been to. I might have heard it a couple of times. It's not because I don't like it or didn't like it or whatever. It's just that I've got a bunch of stuff to do. It's hard to keep up with all the different stuff. Um, but I wanted to get it out there too and make it clear that, because there's probably people out there, Brent, are like, why are you trying to ruin Sasquatch Chronicles?
Mhm.
You know, and I don't think that is your whole thing, is to try to ruin them or say they should go away, or, they shouldn't be in the Sasquatch world or whatever.
I even
So I
think I said
kind of
that in the
wanted to get
video
it.
itself. Yeah, that I don't want it. good for them if they're doing it. I'm just more important about this information getting out there, that we can talk about it openly without being prosecuted. Like literally, man, like go read some of the comments in some of the Bigfoot groups. It's you know, they're really upset and they take their anger out on me, which I understand it's a misplaced anger. I don't take it personally. I understand that, you know, everybody's in this subject for different reasons and we process information. You know, this is pretty serious stuff with people who are true believers in that and supporters of that, that really truly feel that they are friends with Wes, or that they really you know, have that connection with them. This sucks, man. It's like a punch in the gut, is what somebody said. They literally wrote that, and it's true. And you know, the thing is with this whole talking about it more, making this video, like, you know, with you in this discussion, it creates all these other thought processes that I didn't originally have, you know, about the whole, you know, well, technically, is this a grift or is this just business? I didn't really think of it from that aspect before. And, you know, it does make you kind of wonder, and maybe this will spark future discussions in other people, because, you know, hopefully everybody will get over the whole thing about me doing this, that it's, you know, that, you know, it's just what it is. You know, and then they really finally understand the information that's being presented. And actually, as soon as we're done with this, you know, if I got time later on, I'm going to check into how that whole transition that WWE did from going pre-KFAB to post-KFAB. I don't think there was a notice in the product itself. I think that, you know, again, people, you know, in the know already knew that it was fake, but I think the majority of the fans were probably like, "Oh, that kind of sucks," but I'm still going to watch it and root for my fans. And that's what people still talk. That's what people. I've had multiple people tell me that. I'm like, that's great. You know, that's great. That's awesome. You know, and I tried to articulate to them and talk to them like an adult of like why I'm doing it, and for it, you know, this probably isn't really for you. This is more for the people who, you know, might have used them as a viable source for information, and, you know, maybe also open their eyes to the amount of hoaxing that is going on in this subject, and will help them on their road to developing the tools like you've developed. Because one of the reasons why you aren't interested in the hoaxing thing anymore, because you know all about it now. You develop the tools to recognize hoaxing probably right away. You develop the tools to better better your own investigation by sometimes the means of what hoaxers were doing. So you've gathered all that you wanted out of the hoaxing aspect of it, and it's not like you don't care, but it's more that it's just not part of your focus right now. More of your focus should be out there trying to put all that into use for us, so you can go out there and see another Bigfoot and videotape it this time or something.
I
That's
hope
what we
so.
need.
If I
That's
ever
what we
get a chance.
Yeah, but that's what we need out there more of. And we need to get the right, you know, all of these people out there, you know, with that same type of mindset and stuff, with the tools and understanding that we've learned along the way. And this
Yeah.
is just another one of the tools and understanding, maybe not for everybody, but for a lot of people, this is the first step that they're taking into the realization of what they want out of their investigation. And again, that's what this information's for. And, you know, with Wes, I reached out to Wes prior to releasing this and stuff like that, and I leave the door open for him. I don't hold anything against him. I understand why he did it all. Again, I don't really know how to look at this because it's a real business aspect from it. He's an employee of a business, so it's like I really don't know how to fully think of that. But, you know, it's funny just, you know, learning more about Wes. It's incredible how we got some incredible similarities. Like, damn, like there's some weird coincidence there. But anyways, so nothing against Wes. If you're friends with them, still be friends, I guess, you know. And, you know, it would be great. I don't expect it, but, you know, maybe it would be a good opportunity for Wes to have his, you know, moment like wrestling did, to come out and say, hey, I'm sorry, it's fake. We just wanted to create a good product for you. Some people might get upset, sure, might lose a couple of subscribers, but overall, I think it will be a healthier product going forward. And I think Wes will be better, will feel better about himself without having this red flag hanging over him about he knows he knows what we all know, and he has to still maintain this illusion that we are. It's like, okay, Wes, and so it's well, I don't know. It puts him in an interesting position because I don't know how I would feel after all these years, having to do that in a subject that is really critical and bitter at times. And I'm sure he gets the brunt of it too, because he's more of an influencer. He's more out there in the public. And so I don't know. I, I don't want him to not do it because he brings a lot of people joy and stuff, and Sasquatch Chronicles and stuff. And, maybe this is one of the first steps of us better understanding and uh, figuring out what we're going to do with the entertainment channels and how, we're going to better figure out that whole thing. And so I don't know. It's one of those things where the seed has been planted in a lot of different ways, and we can only see where it grows from here. I'm going to continue to feed it and to nurture it and stuff. I'm never going to back down off of this. I'm not going to go. You know, what was important to me was the information is easily accessible for people out there, because before it was pictures on my Facebook page, or it was a link to a drive, which I'm sure people were like, I'm not clicking on that. So this was something that needed to be done, never been done. I encourage others uh, to to look at this report, to talk about this report. I think other people should really talk about it, normalize it, so maybe it will be easier for the people transitioning from pre-KFAB to post-KFAB. I was thinking about this. We should call it SASFAB, right? Versus KFAB, SASFAB, right? So we got pre-SASFAB and post-SASFAB. So, because you don't want to bring negativity to people. So you don't want to uh, intentionally want to all the people who love the show. You don't want to just ruin it for them. You want to try and ease that transition over. So I don't know. That's my whole
Yeah.
take on it. That's the whole reason for the whole video, and everything that I kind of do, because you know a lot of people probably don't even realize I've been planting a forest for a lot of years out there, and you see it grow in different people in different ways and stuff. And I'm I stand firm that it's a good way of going about things. I don't try to push it. I don't try to make it so you have to believe it or else. I try to give people the opportunity, because I can equate it back to my own experience with the whole Bigfoot tree and some of the things that I had to shed off that I believed in. And there's a transition phase, there's a processing phase that a lot of people don't realize that you're going through, of learning this information of a belief in something, and someone and evidence and an entity and stuff. You believed it, to only have it taken away. I understand how that feels, because that happened to me. And so
Oh,
one
I
of my
think it's
goals,
happened to all of us.
yeah, I'm sure it happened to all of us in a lot of different ways, and sometimes it's more impactful depending upon the amount of belief we had in that given thing. And like I said, because I don't want anything happen to Sasquatch Chronicles. It brings a lot of happiness to people and stuff. And but you know, yeah, just as long as we can openly talk about it, and these type of people. And uh, and I think it gives a good example of maybe how to talk to some of these people who are followers of like Sasquatch Chronicles, or some of these people that we do call out, like the Randy Brissons and stuff. Maybe it gives us a better blueprint on how to talk to them as well, and to better get this information over, so that seed could be planted, so they can process it and stuff. Because I guess some people, they come at me and they haven't even read the report. They just read the highlight or
They're
read the
just mad at
title.
you just for.
Yeah, and
Well,
they're
yeah, and it goes back to the thing when you start messing with somebody's cherished beliefs, then they tend to, well, not everybody, but some may tend to react a little more outwardly, I guess.
Hmm.
Um,
And I'm totally aware of that, and I incorporate that into my interaction with that individual person. I try to treat them as much respect as I can possibly, but still standing firm on my convictions about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and the information that's being provided to them. So, it's one of those things where I'm getting better at it as I go along. I was definitely a lot better. I'm a lot better at it now than I was before. So, you want those people to understand the information, and sometimes it'll take them time. And maybe the more people discussing it, like we're doing right now, and maybe other people, as far as breaking down the report and like just going over it all and stuff, and uh, that it will it will help out with that whole thing as well. So, and help with that nurturing of information, because that's what we should really be doing, is nurturing the good quality information. Granted, this isn't the information we wanted. Trust me, I'd love for it all to be real too, but this is the information that we have. And so we need to protect it, make sure it flourishes so it can be utilized as a understanding with investigations going forward.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, the world out in the woods, the world of Bigfoot out there is bewildering at times. I just didn't realize how bewildering it becomes when you add in the online Bigfoot. Because I will tell you, I've come to discern a distinction between the two. At least this is how I compartmentalize them. There's Bigfoot that's actually out in the forest, and there's Bigfoot that's online.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting to the point to where now with, and maybe it's my imagination. I've only been online for like 7 years with the Bigfoot thing, um, but it seems like hoaxing is more than it's more than it ever was when I was much younger. I didn't really, wasn't
Well,
really
no,
aware of that much hoaxing going on, but
I'm sure it was always there, but you just developed the tools to see it now. And
I
that's the
view
thing.
everything online almost as that. Well, I'm going in. I'm going to watch another hoax now. You
Well,
know.
yeah, and that's what I was kind of talking about, because that's kind of almost where I'm at. It's like, okay, by default, we need to get it to a Bigfoot before just believing it's a Bigfoot, and that's fine too, because that's it doesn't create a bias initially with something. So it's not a terrible way to look at it, but it can make you jaded if it gets to you too much, because there is a lot of hoaxing going on in the subject, if we're honest with it. Intentional, unintentional, but there is legitimate stuff going on. I've experienced myself that I can't personally vet out. So, this doesn't say that Bigfoot doesn't exist or anything like that, because we wouldn't be here if we thought that, And,
Well, I mean, I certainly think it exists. You know, I mean, and again, not to go into this because I'll probably cover some of it on my next show. But I mean, what can I say? It doesn't fit into any other box that I have. I've only got so many boxes where things fit, and what I encountered just does not fit into any of those boxes. So what box do I have to put it into? I have to put it in the box labeled Sasquatch. Am I absolutely positively 100% absolutely positively sure that that was a Sasquatch? I'm not going to be intellectually honest if I say absolutely. I can't be 100% sure. It's the only time I've ever seen one like it. Um, and so, yeah, in a way, all this other nonsense, like when somebody makes up, like I go online looking, because I'm
looking up for
hoping that
information.
someday
Yeah.
somebody can show me something that comes even close to matching what I've experienced
Or you come
at
across
all.
an investigator that's going to help you with your own investigation because
Right.
of the way they're going about doing things, which
Right.
could be inspired by something you did, or the stuff that we've been talking about, that, with Leon, and this whole panel discussion that we've had over the last year or two, and really kind of dialing things in for us to develop the tools for people like you and me, and people listening, to go out there and collect that viable evidence, so we can really move the ball down the field, because we're working with the best information out there, and that's
Yeah,
what we kind
and
of
it
want and need.
and it is disappointing to me when people, because, and I guess that was my kind of what I was getting at. Does it devalue um my own encounter story? Does it devalue it when people are making up ones, and especially people that are influencers that make up one? Does it devalue what happened to me? And
One
some,
100%, dude. 100% that does. It takes away from everybody that's had an encounter out there, because you got people like me who don't know if Bigfoot's real. And it's like, so how do I know who's real, who's not real? Because of all these hoaxers, which I think is a predominantly high number.
yeah,
Intentional hoaxers or unintentional hoaxers is a pretty high number, which makes, you know, a determination of somebody a lot more difficult. It makes it a lot more challenging to believe somebody when you come across so much hoaxing. So
yeah,
absolutely, it takes away, and that's why we should, not everybody, because like you say, you're in a different transition and a phase of your investigation right now, but there'll always be people, like me, Nikki, Steve, just a bunch of other people, probably not so much as me going forward, but that will always be, uh, you know, always be talking about the hoaxing that's going on, presenting the evidence, showing that, we need that. We all have our different roles in this subject. For me, I was kind of balancing it between taking care of the hoaxer thing and to do the actual research, like you were kind of doing. It's like, man, it seems recently it's been more of the hoaxing thing and
yeah,
less of the research thing, which is great because it really helped me dialed in a lot of my own beliefs, investigations, and ways of going about things. So it's great. But like you, I think in the future, 2023, I would like to make that less of a focus for me. Not that I don't care about it less. It's just we need to get more people out there in the field to go collect this viable evidence so we can bring it back and either help get it vetted out, or you know have it be the next PG film. And like I say,
yeah,
it comes down to getting the best information. So these investigators, people like me, as I always try to relate it to, that we don't have, there's no Bigfoot University. A lot of us don't have the skills, investigation skills, because we don't understand how an investigation works, because we don't go to the school, as far as a college that deals with how to write an investigation report or a research report, which will better dial in an investigation and stuff. And you don't really see that in this subject because it's just something I don't think that we're really looking at it in that way uh, because we are too busy uh, going, chasing down a narrative that's not even real. It's not even true. And so we're not spending time on areas we need to focus in, like maybe do a research a plan where it's like a business plan or a marketing plan, where you plan out what that investigation is going to entail. It's an
yeah,
itinerary of sorts. So it's you going out there. So I'm doing this is my goal, X, Y, and Z. Boom. So
yeah,
everybody goes out there. We're all on the same page, because something I noticed in investigations over the many years, uh, there's a lot of missed opportunities to maximize the potential investigation power of that particular research group, be it a one person, two person, five people or something. I feel that if we have more of a approach like that, something more structured out like that, that we might have more success when we're out there. And that goes for me too. It's something that I really need to focus in and dial in as well, and really fully articulate it and how it will apply to investigation purposes. Because I did actually, like last year, I was kind of playing with it. I talked about it before, about a Bigfoot research plan, where we are, or an investigation plan, however you want to call it, where we go out there and use what actual researchers do outside of the Bigfoot subject, how they go about it, the tactics that they use to collect information, how uh, they know what how to collect that information. They know the standard of information needed. If they take a
Mhm.
picture of what they think is a Bigfoot, well, maybe you should take more than one, and then maybe you should do an after comparison before you release this all beforehand, of course. So when you do release the information, all everything has been verified and taken care of. So if someone like me that really cares about the information and the research, we can go over the report very similar to how the person who created the Sasquatch Chronicles report, we can just go over the report and see what this kind of information is as that's being presented. That's how it actually is outside of the Bigfoot community. That's what we think. That's what I feel we need to get our standards up to, so we can better our all of our own investigations. And I think a lot of it comes down to how we go about our investigations and how we approach it and stuff like that. And I was actually talking to someone else about this, about how they should probably help out, create a research plan or something like that, or maybe create more discussions about it, because literally go Google it. That's how research is done. Research is done outside of this community. And here's the thing too, it's like that's also how they get funding too. That's how they approach universities or donors with projects that they need funding for. So if you're out there, have a project that you feel is going to be really successful, but you don't have the donations there to do it, um, maybe a good way to get those donations is to write a research plan and do everything necessary that those people outside of the Bigfoot community do in order to get funding. That's when another example of how we need to look outside of the Bigfoot community to better our own investigations. There's a lot of different tools that we use to better our own investigations. And over the last year or two, we're really dialing in those tools. We're really harnessing them and really kind of figuring them out. And everybody's really, helping along the way of understanding what we need out there as a Bigfoot investigator and what kind
Yeah.
of information that we're collecting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I get you. I mean, look, I mean, everybody I'm pretty sure everybody in chat knows that I'm going to be the last person that will tell you that I'm any kind of an expert when it comes to Bigfoot. I'm not. And, and and yes, I've been doing this ever since. I've been looking into this and investigating it, whatever words you want to use to describe the activity that I've been doing since I was a young kid with this whole thing. I know jack shit really. Now I'm not trying to say I'm a total idiot out there when I'm out there and I'm trying to basically hopefully run across one again, or looking for signs that there's at least been some activity in the area, that I'm even in the right area to be able to maybe see one. I'm not saying that. I do know those things, but I'm just, and so yes, does an old guy like me that's been having this as a hobby for 45 years look to maybe possibly other people that ain't the old dudes that have only been doing it for a little while, like Steve. Steve's younger than me, not by much, but he's younger than me. And he's been in the Bigfoot subject not quite as long as I have. He's been online a lot longer than I have. He's got skills as an investigator. Do I look to people like him to help me try to figure out ways of doing what I want to accomplish? Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's important because I'm one of those people that, and especially since by some kind of freak occurrence in August of 2020, I ran across one following a deer in the woods. And especially since that happened, now that I'm like, holy crap, this thing that I've been running around hoping was real since I was 14 years old, now it's like, it's just a totally different thing for me. And, you know, I don't have all the necessary tools, I think, on my own to find what I'm looking for. And I don't mean that I'm trying to prove it to the world that it exists. I'm like you. I got to see this thing again, man. I've got to see this thing again. And I think that would be good enough for me. And I might be able to just die happy and say, fuck it all, if I were to see one again. Now, and not get it on camera. I could do that. Hopefully, I'm going to. That is my goal. That if I ever get to encounter one again, I can get it on camera this time. And not so much again to be the guy that proves Bigfoot exists, because that's not going to do it. But at least I can show it to the people following me and go, yeah, guys, look, see, here's one right here. Now, I'm not going to show no blurry ass shit. It's going to be something that you can just very clearly see, if I were to ever get it, you know. And I think what you're talking about, planning stuff out, that's why I'm doing this Finger Lakes Trail thing, man. I've got to do it, number one, before I get too old to do it. And it is going to be one of those things, man. I am planning it out section by section, you know, etc., and everything that needs to go in with that. What am I going to be doing out there? I'm going to be doing a lot of filming, and I'm going to be doing a lot of walking and a lot of looking. And pretty much that's about what I'm going to be doing. And that's all I know how to do. You know, I'm not going to be out there with a bunch of equipment, of course. It'd be ridiculous trying to carry all that shit with me. Basic basic equipments. A little audio recorder and a few cameras. And that's about it. But it's going to be a full plan. And I got to see, man, what are my chances? You know, but that's where I'm at with it now. The hoaxers be damned, you know. Um, you're muted, Brent.
Sorry about that. So yeah, something that you could do that might help online is, or if you go online, is check out some of these research papers. You know, how people, because there's templates out there and other examples that people presented as far as a plan, a research plan, an investigation plan, a project plan. You know, I'm a business owner, so I look at it from, I look at the subject a lot from that perspective as well. And yeah, you know, there's a lot of examples that you can use while you're to help better your plan, to better hone in on what you want to do, because there's things that you're probably not even really thinking of like, okay, well, what happened if I do collect this evidence and stuff like that. And so, you know, there's a lot of things that you might not realize it, but creating a plan like you're doing right now will help dial it into the point where it's just going to be so what you wanted it to be. And it's going to be maximizing your potential while you're out there, because you know you're not wasting any time, or you're not wasting any missed opportunities of collecting viable data. And the thing is too, in this subject, there's no Superman. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. I got my pros and cons, right? You know, you have yours, we all have ours, and we have to look at it from that way, you know, and use you know, our strengths and weaknesses, and understand them and be okay with them. And you know, because I rely on other people for my weaknesses and stuff, the things I'm not very good at, I rely on other people for, and I have no shame in it, you know, absolutely no problem saying that and doing that, because I understand me, I understand where I'm going to better excel at. Like I better, you know, I'm better going doing this versus all this other little stuff that I just need help with. And I don't, it's not at the point where it's like I use people or I push everything off on people. You know, I try to be very mindful of it, and you know, just try and get help when needed, which I do need help on a lot of different times, and especially understanding the Bigfoot investigation as a whole. I needed a lot of help understanding that, because when I came into this subject, I didn't even actually want to investigate Bigfoot. I was going to pay Matt Johnson $1,000 to go show me a Bigfoot at his SOA area that everybody claimed is out there, you know, because I was influenced by Adam Davies and his encounter down there and all that stuff that he talked about. I was incredibly influenced by it, that I wanted to pay Matt Johnson $1,000, because, you know, I got into this subject. You got to think about, I'm a single dad of 3 kids. I got into this subject as a hobby, you know, and so I don't really have a lot of time. And it's like, man, I just really like to see a Bigfoot and stuff, and it would just be great, you know. And I didn't think I was going to be this long of a hobby, and
Me
but
neither. Right.
and I was going to grow, I guess, into the person that I'm growing into, as far as these other interests that I didn't have before, but I do now because of my Bigfoot interest, my out there investigating. Like I got real, into rock hounding, mushroom hunting, photography mainly, and just exploring in general and seeing what's behind the next bend, behind the next tree and stuff. And that's what this subject got me into, all this other stuff. So it's a really, enriching subject that, it can do that for everybody else. And that's why I'm okay not having Bigfoot behind every tree, and
Yeah.
why I'm okay with not creating a narrative to
I
justify
wish there
why I'm
was a
out there.
I wish there was a Bigfoot behind every tree.
No, no, same here.
I might have been able to see another one by now if there was. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've it, I don't. It's not even fair for me to even say, I use investigation group. I don't even know if I want to call myself an investigator. You know what it really
You are.
is
You
well,
technically
not
are
really, not really. Because I mean, really, what it's been is a 45-year search of my own. So I'm really
a
more of
journey.
a searcher. You know, I
Yeah.
should be the Western New York Bigfoot search group.
Well, no, you
Because
technically are. No, you're an investigator, because I kind of thought about this. So we're not actually researching Bigfoot, because we don't have a Bigfoot to research. We don't have a Bigfoot to observe to research. So
right,
we are investigating a big to where a Bigfoot is, so we can research a Bigfoot. So yes, you are an investigator. You've been an investigator for 45 years.
I
All
guess
the
in a way,
information, yeah, all the information that you've compiled over that last 45 years got you to this point here, and it's something that you maintained over that 45 years. So yes, you absolutely are an investigator, and hopefully we get to the point of actual researching, because there are
yeah,
people out there that are potentially are researching these things, but we just don't know about it, because you wouldn't tell
I
anybody at
would
that
meet
point.
you halfway and say that I'm definitely been investigating the phenomenon for that long. Um, yeah, I guess I have been. Um, and I was wow. I had a point that was going to, supposedly that was going to bring me back around to something, but now I forgot what it was. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty much it's a personal journey for me. There are other people out there that are actually just really, I mean, what I would consider, yes, they are investigators of this thing. They
You
do a
could be
lot.
both.
Like
You
for
could be
me,
both.
like I would love it if I got more Bigfoot reports called into me of people saying, "Hey, I think I saw one over here" or whatever. And but then again, here we go. That's my point. Then I got to worry about with all this going on, who's bullshitting me just to waste my time,
Hmm.
right? Who's gonna be bullshitting me? I used to be like just so like anybody could call me and go, "Hey man, uh such and such, I'm so and so or whatever. This is," and tell me the whole thing, and I'm in a rush to, "Oh man, new place to investigate. Let me see if I can find any signs of whatever this person saw." And now, I don't know, man. I mean, I would
Well,
love to be able to get some ones, but how, I'm worried about, who's going to be bullshitting me now
the
and
thing
who's
is,
not, since so
well,
much of it goes on.
yeah, well, and this is what we kind of talked about, is you have developed the tools over the last couple of years. Myself and many others have developed the tools to better understand how to vet these people out, how to better understand who's pulling your leg, how to even better interact with them, so you don't have to be entangled with them for very long, and be like, oh, okay, it's somebody I'm not going to put a lot of time into, because I don't really believe them, but I still need to figure out a way to, not make that so awkward with that. And so you can kind of focus on the people who are legitimately out there. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those hard balances. I don't really put myself out there. I thought about it, but it's just one of those things where uh, it comes down to, is like, how much do I want to put my time into this versus other interests that I have, just casual hobbies, and The other thing with helping the families with missing people, and so there's I don't know if I want to open myself up to that type of uh, income of people, but it would be good to get that information. And again, it comes back to the information on getting the best information for us. And that's, I think, one of the issues that I'm having is, if I had a lot of current information of maybe potential interactions and or like a Bigfoot on the property, like the one that I talked about before. We kind of went out there and investigated the area. We still need to go back, but it's one of those things where it's just like it's just the forest, and but who knows if it's legit or not. But it comes down to taking the time to investigate it, and it comes back to why we shouldn't.
Hang on a second, Brent, because I got something going on. I haven't been paying attention to chat. So, um, Nikki says that Joe, take me off as moderator, or please do something. Apparently, there's something going on in chat, and I think it has to do. Oh, okay. Look, whatever argument's going on in chat, this is not the freaking format for that. And if Lockbeard, man, I don't come to your chats to disrupt your stuff, man. So please don't argue with people about something totally not related to what's going on in this show. I mean, that's ridiculous, man. I mean, I have enough respect for you not to do that. I would like you to respect me enough not to do that too. And
Well, it
Nikki,
disrupts.
as a moderator, the reason I made you a moderator is because I figured you could do you would be a good moderator, and that you wouldn't just do it for no reason. So my judgment in you is that if you have to do something as a moderator, that's your job. If somebody's being disruptive, we'll take it up later on if there's an issue with it. But you do what you got to do. And people, you got to stay respectful in this. I mean, I like you. I love all of you. But you know what? Show me some respect too in my chat.
Well, it disrupts the show, and that's something that you don't really want because
Right.
I get sometimes that in chat there's separate conversations going on and stuff, and but if that conversation is overtaking, or becoming, it's not a good conversation, I guess. And I don't see chat right now, so it's not something that's going to be good for the show as a whole that we're talking about, like the subject that we're talking about right now, because it kind of just detracts and disrupts
I
it.
know it
Again,
gets a little
I don't
bit.
know what he's talking about, but
Yeah, I
I don't
haven't been
know.
paying attention to chat this time because this was about the whole Wes Germer and
Yeah, well, the
the
thing,
effects of hoaxing
yeah,
on the whole.
but the reason why I'm okay at that we can talk about the whole Wes Kermer thing is there's a 40-page report and an extensive investigation by a multiple of people to prove this encounter never happened. It's really like if this ever went to court, if like, okay, we need to figure out if this was a legitimate sighting or not, because of whatever, this report would be like, yeah, okay, their report or their encounter never happened, to the point where you can almost safely say they were likely never even on the mountain that day. So we have evidence to prove that they're hoaxing. That's when I will talk about people. If I don't have evidence to prove somebody's hoaxing and I just think they're hoaxing, I might tell the circle of people that I'm friends with and stuff about
Right.
it. I might go to them and talk to them about my concerns and whatever. But I can't. It's really hard to go public with something like that
Right.
because you don't have the evidence to show that they're hoaxing. It's just a feeling and stuff. And what that does is it creates a division of, the information that you're trying to present, because it's going to get perceived in a completely different ways because of there's the lack of evidence. So I think a lot, is something that we could be mindful going forward with how we present or want to talk about these people that we don't have evidence against. And it's one of those things where, again, we have to see where the road takes us. Like so many things, like so many of these trees that we planted, we have to see what it develops into, and how well we take care of it and stuff. And
Yeah.
this is another one of those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're all on the same team. Some of us, might not be legit. Some of us think we're legit, just it's whatever. But ultimately, we're here for the same goal. And I don't think anybody in this circle of people is doing any sort of damage to the subject to the point where, okay, we got to call these people out and like, we really got to, like a vault keeper type thing where we all rally to, or a Mark Zasky. That's when we rally together as a whole and stuff. But, that's when, you know, that's what we need to understand is that we're all on the same team. uh, and some people might make up their encounter because of trauma reasons. It's a whole different show topic, and that I'm
Yeah.
probably not even qualified to talk about. But it's very possible that them being able to have that freedom to create a narrative will help them better in their own life somehow, to escape some sort of issues. So it's like we need to be mindful also of the people making these claims that we don't believe and stuff. Like
Right.
with the whole West thing and stuff, it's like I am kind of more harsh on it, only because it's a lot has been done to protect the lie, and there's people that are, it's a business, so there's monetary exchange happening. So again, it's good. Information like this should be known. And as far as
Yeah.
I know, people still charge. WWE still charges for admissions, so they're still making tons of money, just because Sasquatch Chronicles and their story wasn't real doesn't take away from the Bigfoot subject. But we do need to talk about it. We do need to address it for the integrity of the information and the subject itself.
Yeah. Well, yeah, informer everything. It's only Bigfoot. Who cares? We covered that early on in the show and near the beginning, and there are people that care though, former. So we're not going to rehash all that.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I mean, on the grand scheme of things, yeah, he's right. It's only Bigfoot. This
right.
is a Bigfoot subject, and that I think that's what it kind of means is, there's a lot more pressing issues in the world
Oh,
versus,
sure. Yeah, I
that's
agree
why
with that.
that's
I
why it
agree.
doesn't matter. That's why I personally don't care. None of us should care if Sasquatch Chronicles goes on, Wes keeps doing what he does. But as long as we all understand and are allowed to talk about this information openly and freely, so we can share it amongst each other that are really looking for that quality information.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And as for me, man, I'm going to continue on doing what I do. I have to get back. I let too much of the online stuff, and there was reasons for it. It wasn't because I didn't want to. Then we had the COVID, then we had this, and then things happen in life.
Inflation, your gas prices. I'm there. I'm
Inflation,
with you,
gas
dude.
prices
I'm
kept me
with you.
away from that. And so I
Yeah.
ended up letting too much of this being focused on me. And I'm
Dude,
not
that's
saying,
why
again,
I
I
totally
agree with you.
understand. I totally understand where
Yeah.
you're at, dude. That's why it's like I
Yeah.
could totally relate, because I am having those same thoughts too. It's like, man, I've been focusing too much on something I didn't get into this subject for. I got
Yeah.
into this subject to see a Bigfoot, to know if it's real or not to be not dealing with all the hoaxers. But I feel that if I could present examples for people to better their own investigations, then I feel that it wasn't a waste of time. That at least hopefully it helped people better their own investigation, because maybe that is going to be the person that gets the evidence that we need to prove this wide open. I would love that to happen, but we just need to get the people out there with the right mindset to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Like
think
yourself,
so.
I mean, you very likely this year, are equally as likely to have an experience, and who knows, but at least you're out there
I hope
trying.
so.
And
I
yeah,
hope
and
so.
it's a good thing for life as well. It's a good motivation thing for life. It's a good achievement for life, which is something that we all should have, is goals, and something that we can work towards and achieve for. It'll help us with how we interact in life and all this stuff. So it's
Yeah.
important to have that, to work towards this type of stuff. And like we were talking about before, we all have different roles in a way, in this subject. Some people will focus more on the hoaxing. Some will focus more on the research. We're all different. We all have something to offer. We all have strengths and weaknesses, and the better we work together, hopefully we can get the right results that we want.
Yeah. And at least stop people getting people laughing at us so much from the outside, because I think it was the subject of Bigfoot from my perspective. Um, aside from the entertainment part, and I understand all that, it needs to be a little more respect given to it, to where, you know, and maybe some of that's coming around. Like, when the Sasquatch search vehicle is ready and out of the shop finally, I've got I'm and no shame in my game, man. I'm putting new decals on that thing. That pretty much, but it's changing. It's changing to official Bigfoot search vehicle, and it's got windshield banner and one for the hood and two for the doors. And yeah, I'm gonna deck it out, man. And and I know a lot of people, they kind of get a smile when they see something like that driving along, and but I think it needs a little more seriousness to it. People at least take it seriously. Yeah, it's a fun thing to do. No, I don't expect you to believe automatically in Bigfoot. Um, but yeah, things like that. I mean, I'm going to do my best and kind of trying to change a little bit of that by getting out there and at least searching 580 miles of New York. Now, that's not the whole state of New York, but maybe, I mean, within that trail that covers a lot of woodland, lots and lots of, and maybe there's something out there that I can run across, man. I'm all of that space, man. I mean,
Well,
accidentally asked against all astronomical odds, came across one totally by accident one day. Maybe I can go out there and just be out there hiking and camping all along that trail, and maybe I can accidentally run into one again. I mean, it'd be an accident to me, maybe to the Bigfoot. I guess it wouldn't be an accident, because I think the only way I'm going to see one is if it wants me to. But that's neither here nor there. But
Well, I'm kind of the same way where it's like, that's, I kind of want to go out there and yeah, have that experience. And yeah, you got to get out there in order to do it. And, it excites me because it's like you think, well, is this going to be the time? Is this going to be the day that I see a Bigfoot? And, it usually isn't, always
right,
isn't, I should say. But
so far,
yeah, and I don't get discouraged anymore when I don't have those experiences because I totally understand this subject as a whole now that I can really process things and not have to worry about being disappointed I didn't have an experience or have to worry about creating content or anything like that. I can just kind of enjoy it and get the full experience from it. And
yeah.
that's all we can really do is go out there, put ourselves in the best situation. And you're doing your part, your sliver of part of yourself. I'm doing my sliver apart. Everybody out is
Trying.
doing their sliver apart. And the more people we have out there doing those slivers apart with working with the best information, with the best tools to vet out the information they come across, because of the understanding that they've collected with understanding how the hoaxing works, how the research aspect works, how information is collected, presented, consumed, processed, everything. They have a better understanding of that. And,
Yeah.
that's hopefully will be the people that will get the information that we need or get the proof we
Yeah.
need.
And I don't mean to make this sound like I'm superior to anybody, because I've never felt like that. Um, but I think it's odd that actually from the where I'm coming from, I think I'm a little bit unique. I'm not saying that there's nobody else out there like me. Um, but I'm not doing this to like try to be like a professional anything, right? I'm just doing this because I like sharing my adventure with people, and that's all I'm doing. So, and I guess that's a way for me. Um, Hang on a second. I just got
Well, it's one of the
okay.
unintentional benefits that you get from the
Um,
subject. It allows you to create and have this extra, passion and positivity coming from the subject, even though it's not the actual Bigfoot itself.
yeah. I think my whole thing is I'm just enjoying. I'm doing this because I'm enjoying sharing my adventure. I'm not trying to make money off of Bigfoot, really. I mean, if people want to buy shirts and stuff from my store, that's fine. I don't care if you do. That's fine. I don't. It doesn't
Well,
make me
it
think
helps
any
fund
less
what
of
you're
anybody
doing.
if they
Yeah,
don't. But yeah, that's just to help me fund like gas and shit like that,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I mean, I'm just doing it because I just want to share this whole little weird adventure I've been on. And, so I guess that's a segue into telling people that on this Finger Lakes Trail thing, I mean, you got to go into it knowing that, well, you're probably not going to see a freaking Bigfoot, but I'm going to film everything and show you everything I'm doing just in case, you know. I do get to film one. I think the odds are astronomical that I'm going to film one, but it won't be for lack of having a camera running while I'm out there in case something does happen. Um, and even if I don't film any Bigfoot or find any evidence, am I still going to make videos and put them up and show what it was like on the trail? Absolutely am, because I think there's certain people that even if there is no Bigfoot in my Florida, I'm Florida. Why do I keep saying Florida? I keep thinking of Matt. Matt is such an influence on me. My Finger Lakes Trail expedition. I think people are still interested and they want to see it anyway. Certain people. Some people are like, there's no freaking Bigfoot in there. I'm not watching. Well, whatever. Okay, that's cool. I'm just enjoying the journey, and I'm just inviting people along on it, man, that want to watch my dumbass shit. And
Well,
that's about it for me.
well, that's what a
Um,
lot of videos are on my channel. I consider them more like tag along. People just coming along for a journey. I consider myself more of an avatar. Like the videos, I do it more for those people. I try to look at it from their perspective because for ever since I started the channel, it's like I get people telling me all the time how they really appreciate the scenery. Because a lot of people don't live in the area, they can't get out, X, Y, and Z, why they're not having that experience. And it's something that I get to share with them that I've learned that I really like doing. I like going out making videos and try to take those people into account when I'm shooting the videos, because I don't expect to shoot Bigfoot out there, or video film one. I don't really expect to see one, but I'm going to go out there and document the area the best I can, show the area the best I can, because a lot of people do appreciate that.
mhm.
It's the tag along videos, and you know, granted they're not very popular sometimes, but people do appreciate them because it also allows me to not have any sort of pressure to manufacture evidence. I feel I
Right,
have to do something
right,
in order to make a video. I have to
right.
give an explanation. For me, it's like, no, this is just kind of what I did, and and
Yeah,
that's how I've always done it. And it's made it so there's
yeah,
no pressure. There's no, when there's a video, when there's a video. Sometimes, I'll make a video of one of my outings. Sometimes I don't. It really depends upon timing and if there's anything worth, you know, taking video and picture of and stuff. So
yeah,
but yeah, but it's good for you because it really helps you with that creative aspect of it, because you can tell that it's something that you're really interested in, and this is one of those things that are going to help enrich that in with you and better bring out in you. And that's kind of what I'm expecting this to be, is just more of a tag along, like, hey, this is the journey that I'm on. Don't expect Bigfoot, don't expect it to be sensationalized. Granted, you're not going to get the 5 million views, but the people that follow you and stuff will want to be there with it. And so when you're out there on the trail, you can always keep that in mind. And so you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, am I getting enough content to keep this entertaining or
yeah.
stuff?
That
You
doesn't
already,
concern me
yeah, you
really.
already know people are out there to just be there with you along your journey.
It
And
doesn't
that's what you should
concern me.
focus on. Yeah, yeah. And that's
Even if
why,
there's only two people that end up watching anything of the Finger Lakes Trail expedition, I'm happy. That's fine. I'm doing it for that reason, just to take people along on the journey. Look, there's been plenty of documentaries. I mean, real documentaries that I have watched that don't have Bigfoot number one in them. Nothing. But I still enjoyed the documentary. I don't need to see um, a Bigfoot in a documentary to go, man, I like that documentary, and I actually learned a little information from it. You
mhm.
know, so that's what I'm doing it for,
Well,
anyways.
well, I mean, yeah, look at other investigators out there like Matt or wizard or just so many people to name. It's like you watch their videos and it's something that you can learn from, and
Absolutely.
it's awesome to have all these different opportunities to have access to other people doing you know with the same goal as you, but might be looking at it from a different perspective. And man, that stuff is how
I
we're
think
really going to dial it in.
I think there's an element of people out there too that are just like, damn it, I want to see a big. And I'm like, the only
Oh
thing I can
yeah,
say to
yeah,
those people is like, well, go out in the woods.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
best chance you're going to get to see one is get out in the
yeah.
woods. Spend a lot of
Well,
time out there. Maybe
yeah,
you'll see
because
one out there.
you realize with this whole thing, you can't control how other people are going to respond to what you're presenting. All you can control is how you respond. And
Yep.
how you respond is going to be important for your own mental health and just
Yeah.
for just getting the naysayers, the ones who are like, oh, I want to see Bigfoot. You understand that they're just like, oh, it's adorable, pat their head, and then
And
continue on your way. No
and
water off the
there
duck's
is a
back.
part of me also that does want to feel like I'm actually contributing something useful to the whole phenomenon since I've been so interested in my whole entire life. Do I want my? I don't want my stuff to just be just another fucking thing, Um, which it ultimately it may end up being, and that's okay too if that's what it ends up being. But we all want to feel like we're contributing something, I think. So,
Well,
but
you
anyway,
are, and we all are, by having these sort of discussions. This discussion here likely inspired somebody else, which is going to inspire somebody else, and it was a good, positive discussion that I think you know is going to be beneficial for people going forward, and
yeah,
um,
yeah,
just to have these type of discussions, and that you can have these adult civil discussions, trade information and not get emotionally attached to it and stuff. And we realize that there are some people that will always be those people that are like, oh my gosh, like some of the people who come at me, but it's like, it's just totally negated because I totally understand their perspective. And as long as we understand that, it's easier going
yeah,
forward.
absolutely. Well, I think we've hashed it out pretty much,
I think so.
and
That's great because I was actually thinking about making another video because it's like I don't really think really I really need to do a script. I need to not just do it from a one take. I need to do a script, and this was a great example of I need to do it. I've been talking about it with some people, Sean and others. It's like I need to do a script,
yeah, yeah.
and I need to write it all out while I'm reading it or while I'm
Uh,
doing the video, so I don't have to like miss stuff or like the ums or waiting,
right.
it's that thing.
Yeah. Well, and then also, I guess it's really come to realization. I guess you don't have to worry too much about losing your spot with Sean to me because
Uh,
I mean, he might not like you that much, but he likes you better than he likes me.
I don't know. He yells at me all the time, and he's like, "You're the worst Bigfoot investigator ever." He's like, "God, you haven't even seen one. Why are you even talking, man?"
That's
No, I'm
Sean.
just kidding.
Yeah,
No, I'm just
that's
kidding.
Sean. But
Everybody's great. Everybody's
anyway,
great in the circle of people. There's nobody really out there doing like Wes Grimmer type stuff, where they're totally exploiting it for like a serious cash grab.
yeah, yeah. Well, folks, appreciate everybody in chat.
Oh yeah, check
Glad you
out the moon.
joined us, and
Check that out.
I thought it was a pretty good show. I think in all, just be wary of who if you are the type of person that is really wanting just like that they exist, but there's some other answers you want. Just be aware of who the hoaxers are, and then you can treat it accordingly. Um, and as far as everybody in the chat probably already knows, you want to find out more about stuff and more of what Brent's doing. He's got his channel. There is a link in the description, of course, to the Tall Ones. So check out his stuff, see what he's going to be having going on this year out there in Washington, right? Yeah, Washington.
Yeah, actually,
Um,
we Nikki's flying in because Jay Birch is having a like a a big get together down there in his area. So Nikki's flying in, and I'm going to that, and probably a lot of people are going to that. I think Tristan's going, Curious Cryptid, and we're going to try and get Leon, Jerry, and Thomas down too. So that would be
cool.
grey. Yeah.
That
I
would
mean,
be
they're just
awesome. I would love to be able to go to something
right
like
up the
that.
way. Yeah, man. Everybody's,
When's that
invited. End of July, last weekend of July. I think it's 27th.
All right. Well,
I think
that's
it is.
something to look forward to. I'll see if I can arrange something somehow. Maybe. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can. Maybe I can. I would love to, especially because I would, I mean, not so much you, but I'd really love to meet Thomas Steenberg in person.
Oh yeah. I mean, it'd be great to meet everybody and stuff. But you have a grand adventure this year, so it's understandable if you're not able to make it, because
that's going to be a lot of time.
Yeah, which is awesome, and I encourage you to do that, because that's what we really need.
That's
to develop the tools.
I'm definitely doing it, man. There's nothing that could stop me from doing it. I'm going to do it. If I have to crawl to the trail,
and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you not focusing on the hoaxers as much. There's a lot of us that are going to, take care of that, so you don't have to worry about it. If you need to come back to it, or if you need to help expose a hoaxer, it's always there. But we need more people like you, boots on the ground, out there trying with a good perspective and a good solid investigation out there, trying. That's all we could do, is try, and not get totally discouraged if we don't collect the evidence needed and the proof needed, because we understand it's more about the journey than anything.
It is about the journey. And hopefully I'm on a grand one, folks, and you're going to join me and follow me on this grand journey, and I'll do the best I can for you and for myself.
We'll all be there for sure.
So with that, everybody, I love you all. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Brent, for kind of talking me into doing this tonight, because it did take my mind off of just other shit that I didn't want to think about anymore. And that was really cool. I'm glad we had this discussion.
Yeah, me too.
And we'll get you back on here. And then, maybe someday, if whatever bug is up Sean's ass, he ever has me back on his show, I'll see you there.
Yeah. yeah, man, that'd be cool. Yeah, have a big panel or something like that. And that'd be great.
See if he remembers to invite me to one of those again.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Y'all have a good evening. Remember what I always say, don't sweat the petty stuff and don't pet the sweaty stuff. And I'll be seeing you from the Finger Lakes Trail. Good night, everybody.
See ya.
He's got the whole tribe talking. He's got the whole world walking. He's got the whole world talking. He's got the whole world looking. He's got the hands in the air shaking. He's got the man at the glory time, and he's down and all the damn and down. And he barks much worse than he bites. He can dance a mean foot, ferocious appetite. He barks much worse than he bites. And to know him is to love him, and to love him is to know him. Barks worse than you can reach your bottom.